Welcome back. Well, this is the second of the Bedford antique videos. It's not sort of a part two as some of them have been in the past when the videos have gotten unwieldy. It was actually a separate Bedford trip. So when we come back, we're going to take a look at what I got, and I will tell you the circumstances in which I got it. All right, I'm going to start with remember these pieces, the Art Moderne salt and pepper shakers that I got that are staying on my stove, coming with me, not going into my Etsy shop, mine, all mine. When I went into Bedford, the people who run Bedford, and by the way, it did not change hands. It turns out that it was just different people, or as one of the people who runs Bedford had said, we just didn't get lucky when I went in and had such an extraordinarily long checkout time. By the way, the person who was checking me out was in Bedford and said she had seen the video and that I had offended her when I complained about how long it took me to check out. And I told her that I was sorry, I didn't mean to offend her, and that is the absolute truth. Of course I didn't mean to offend her, but it doesn't alter the fact that these people were not very good at checking customers out. What can I say? But fortunately, it was just a fluke. Bedford has not changed hands. My usual speedy checkout people are still there. Hallelujah. I just have to be a little more cautious about when I go in to shop. That's the key. Anyway, one of my usual speedy checkout people saw me when I walked in and said, hey, remember where you got those salt and pepper shakers? Well, the vendor is in restocking her booth. Go grab her, because if you want to do some shopping, she's right there. She'll probably give you a discount. Well, let's see. So, as it happened, I did see her, I did talk to her, I did grab some stuff. I got a total of 8 items from her booth, and it was $45 for the 8 items, just a little over $5 a piece. So did work out well, and let's take a look at what I got from her. So this is one of the pieces. This is, oh, and by the way, because it was all sort of lumped in together, we just have to deal with that approximate price, a little over $5 per. This is from that's the Takahashi Importers from San Francisco. We had talked before about the manufacturing companies in Japan, and we also have the importers. And a lot of times when you see a mark, it's not the manufacturer. This one says San Francisco, it's the importer. So the piece is marked San Francisco, was probably made in Japan to the specifications of the Takahashi company, and that was the way a lot of these things were done, especially once we got into the period when this was made. And this would have been made, I'm thinking, around the 1980s. Very nice Japanese powder box. Colors are great. We've got this soft blue, and then this, which is a sort of orangey red, really nice counterpoint. Little bit of gilding, sweet piece. And I really like covered trays. Well, you know, hey, come on. This is the very definition of a pretty box. So you can stick stuff in it, hide it away, and keep it handy. And I have a lot of pieces like that. where, for example, I have a very interesting little sort of squat ginger jar that holds the reflectors and flashers that I put on Audie's collar when he goes out before dawn, especially in the winter when he goes out early in the morning. It's before dawn, so I throw a flasher on his collar. I keep those along with the batteries for the flashers, and very often I'll throw other spare batteries in it, keep it next to the front door. I don't know why I'm throwing the other spare batteries in it, but just so I can have stuff. I'll have others that will hold like sundry earring backs or loose change, whatever, just so I can have all of that stuff that we have to keep our lives going, and not have it just sitting out in a nasty little pile where everybody can see whatever it is. I prefer to hide it away a little. And, you know, my theory, hey, it's not hoarding if you keep it in a pretty box. So, little powder box. Little outhouse salt and pepper shakers. These are Japan. They've got the little plastic paper tag on the bottom. And outhouse salt and pepper shakers. Very nice. Outhouses and odd little, I don't know, whimsical, unexpected things like that sell well in salt and pepper shakers. For some reason, people like them. Other Japanese pieces. This is, speaking of those odd little import companies, this one is Lego. You know, just like the little building blocks, but it was a Japanese import company. A little coffee pot, salt and pepper shakers. Let me turn this around because they've got interesting designs. It's a butterfly on one side and flower on the other. Grabbed these little salt and pepper, that classic Noritake design with the windmills. I do not think these windmills are a sort of classic native to Japan design. I think it's a Western design that the Japanese artisans put on their pieces. And this one, salt and pepper, again, Japan, with the little paper tags. Very nice little pieces. Cute. Let's see, what else did I pick up from her? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, these. Here we go. Very pretty little pieces. Unmarked, no idea. I do not think they are Japanese. They could be because, well, they're unmarked, so I have no idea where they're from. But very lovely paint job on these, just soft, very interesting colors. And this, take these out. This is our little piece of heaven only knows what, driftwood, I'm going to say, and the salt and pepper shakers, which are cactus, or cacti, if you prefer. Very pretty pieces, very southwestern looking, and I would imagine that's where they're going to end up living permanently. I would think that, you know, the buyer for these is going to be someone in the Southwest or California. It's just a very Southwestern style, very Southwestern colors. But again, who knows? Could be a cactus lover from some other part of the country. So that was what I picked up from her, and I was, as I said, very happy to have crossed her path. But let me also say that I'm very light on the filming for this Bedford trip because the place was actually very busy. There were a lot of people doing what people do, you know, talking, shopping, whatever. And of course, I did not want to film anyone, because you shouldn't film anyone without their permission. But also, I didn't want to get too close either, because then, it's sort of incumbent on all of us to respect people's sense of social distance these days. But I did get some film, which of course I will share with you. But let's get back to this. But I did want to explain why it was that we are a little light on the filming. This is an unmarked piece. It is a covered jar, but it is not a ginger jar. If I had to bet, I would say it is not Asian, even though this blue and white is a very common Asian color combination. I would say no. That's just, my gut impression. Could be dead wrong, because without any information on where it was made, it's just a guess. But it is a very nice jar. I think I paid $6 for this piece. And again, boy, you could stuff this full of all kinds of junk you want to keep out of people's line of sight. So, qualifies as a pretty little box. This is this German or German? A very nice little lusterware tray. Very soft, pearlescent sort of lusterware. Not the classic, highly iridescent type. Just, I don't know, just a nice soft design. Was very inexpensive. I think this was $3, so naturally I grabbed it. Mostly because pieces like this are very useful. And I do like to be able to throw stuff into my Etsy shop every now and then that is not Asian. Speaking of Asian, a very pretty little lusterware dish. Bird. Birds sell. People like birds. People who have birds like birds. People who don't have birds like birds. Birds sell. That was just a couple of dollars too. And let me just pop this one up. I think this was $4. This is a lemon server. This piece is very pretty. The underside is extremely iridescent, pearlescent, very nice. And the top has a very matte finish. No markings. Beautiful Art Deco style on this. I believe this was an amateur piece. In other words, just an artisan created this, not a mass-produced piece. Well, it was hand-painted, that's obvious. But very often, just private people would just do this as a hobby craft. And I believe this was one of those pieces. But again, last week when we talked about Art Deco, and I had said this sort of powder blue, which I think they also called Alice Blue. Well, I know they also called it Alice Blue. I think that's the shade they called Alice Blue. Was one of the jazz colors. This is one of the Art Deco colors, and the design, as you can see, is very, very deco. And I think that was one of those pieces, just an amateur artist. Very, very nice, very deco. Remember what we said last week, or not last week, but last video, was deco sells. So that was a sweet little piece. Now, let's take a look at this. This is a Nippon sugar bowl. And again, this goes back to what I was saying before about little covered trinket dishes. An orphan sugar bowl is going to work very nicely as a little stash container. You want to stick something in it, this can hold all kinds of little cosmetic items for the bathroom, jewelry items in the bedroom. I like them, and I do pick up orphaned sugar and creamers when I can because they will sell. Here is, what are you? You are German covered creamer. Again, an orphaned piece, but I find them to be remarkably useful. This is a very nice piece. I like the colors. Just a sweet little covered creamer. But that's not the only creamer I got. This is a nice piece, but let's take a look at the invasion of the Czech creamers. All right, here we go. 1. And this is just Czech creamer. 2 Czech creamers. 3 and 4. This was a very popular style of Czech creamer, as I'm sure you can tell from the fact that I've got 4 of them. Now, 2 of these, I paid $4 a piece for this one and this one. If you'll notice, the spouts are different. So they're not identical. They're the same size, very close to identical, but not quite. However, this one and this one are identical. I paid less for this one because it has a little chip on the spout, very tiny chip. It's going to be a very easy repair. And this one, the little one, also has a little tiny chip. Again, a very easy repair. And this was $2. I grabbed them all because I really do like these little orphan creamers. I use them for all kinds of things, and I don't have any difficulty when it comes to selling them in my Etsy shop. None. I think other people find them as useful as I do, and let's face it, I can take a piece like this, fill it with water, stick it over with my plants, you know, that pathetic little assortment of plants I haven't quite managed to kill yet, and I can use this to water my plants. I can use this as a vase. I can use this as a measuring cup. All I have to do is grab a regular measuring cup and figure out how much water fits in this. If it's a cup, voila, measuring cup. You can do so much with them. And as I say, I think other people realize that too because they sell. So anyway, that I just found very interesting. But while we are looking at the sugar and creamers, let's take a quick look at a set of sugar and creamers that I saw while we were just prowling around that did not make it. It's a little overpriced, but very pretty. So let's take a look. Start again. I thought we would take a look at this set here. Creamer and sugar, Noritake, very nice, $12. Condition is good. Size is large. Look at it in comparison to my hand. Nice, nice pieces. I'm not complaining about the price at all. In terms of, if I wanted something like this for myself, I would say great price. At $12,
That's about where I have to draw the line in terms of resale. So, now let's back up a little, just so you can see that sometimes it really is about the money. Sometimes you just have to leave some really sweet things behind.
Yeah, those were great. And if they were just a little tiny bit less expensive, there were a few others that I really, really liked. If the booths ever put them on sale, often these booths will have, 20, 25% off. Some of them, it'll be 50% off. Some of them are just nice. If they ever go on sale, yes, I will grab them. If I were looking for sugar or creamer for myself, I would go for a piece like that because they are nice. It's not that. It's just that the price is a little higher than I want to be able to turn them for a profit. So let's take a look at something else very quickly. Let me just put this here. Geisha ware. Very interesting little piece. In all likelihood, this is going to become the base, the lower tier of a geisha ware tidbit tray. People like geisha ware. It's a fact. I look at this and think, well, it's not very inspiring, but hey, that's me. I'm not the only person on the planet, and I need to be mindful of the fact that other people are buying my stuff. So, yes, this also is probably going to be part of a tidbit tray. I like the fact that the central piece where the tidbit hardware is just completely blank, so the hardware won't be sort of crashing into anything. And I like the colors, soft pink and blue. Very pretty. But speaking of pink and blue china, let me show you something. And I've shown you these pieces before a long time ago. I've had these for months. This is a very nice little, it's a tiny little leaf-shaped, totally mid-century, totally little atomic design plate. And here is a little picture, again, very mid-century, that clearly has the same leaf pattern, the same shades of pink and, is this gray? Pink, and sort of gray and black. That was in my stash. Okay, take a look at this. Now, let me show you. Look at that. One of our viewers sent me 3 little saucers like this. Perfect match. Let me show you. Really nice. I had been looking for plates to go with these 2 little pieces, and now I have them. Those are all going to be tidbit trays. And people have said, why don't you just sell them outright? It's like, no. I really think that the atomic mid-century collectors are going to enjoy having that as a tidbit tray instead. And I will be able to do this. So I think it's great. I've got these pieces, and yeah. So now we've got a mid-century tidbit tray coming out. Plus, because there are 3 of them, I'm going to have some more so I can continue to look for other pieces. That will be a great deal of fun. So that was a very nice little present from a viewer. Very, very useful. And this beautiful little Imari little mini cauldron. There's no question, this is a little cauldron, and this is a beautiful little Imari-style piece. It is marked. In fact, it's marked with my initials, SH. That's what the mark is on the bottom. I'm sure, in fact, this is one of the Japanese importers, but hey, Actually, who knows? I don't know. But it's a very Japanese style piece. It's an Amari style that came to me from my neighbor who, as soon as we went from, red to yellow, she went off to the yard sales, not because that's what she's interested in doing, but because her 83-year-old husband, I'm telling you, if you nailed that man's foot to the ground, you still could not keep him still. Yeah, he's up on the roof, 83, up on the roof all the time. I have gone over there with my cell phone in my hand and said, you realize I'm holding my finger on the button for the ambulance because you're terrifying me up there. No, still up on the roof. Cannot keep that guy still. Always on the go. So he's the one who's always insisting on going out. She can't keep him home either. It's like it's a running joke in the neighborhood that the guy always going. So she brought me this back from one of the little yard sales or flea markets or whatever, and she brought it back so that I could use it on a Tidbit tray. She said she thought it would go very well with my Japanese dishes, and she's quite right. I'm not going to have any difficulty finding a home for that. But those were a couple of interesting little gifts that came in. So I also want to show you a film clip of something that I saw at Bedford. And it's one of those, who knows what this is doing in an antique shop. So watch.
Okay, under the general category of the strange stuff that shows up in antique shops, let's take a look at this little tin here. I have no idea how much they're asking for it, but I would not be buying it because I have several at home. I bought, I think 24 of these about 7 or 8 years ago to use as stocking stuffers one Christmas. Not antique, not by a long shot.
Here is that little tin. I picked up a number of these, probably, I don't know, five or 6 years ago. They were full of mints, and I just used them as stocking stuffers that year for Christmas because I found this is little Christmas tins. So, no, they're not old. They're not even vaguely old. They're very, very modern, and given the fact that I probably paid $2 for the tin when it was full of mints, I gotta wonder why someone thought this would be deserving of space at an antique shop. But the takeaway from this is look at things very, very carefully. Just because this has a nice vintagey look to it does not mean it's old. It's a modern piece designed to look old, just a cute little mint box. That's all. Oh, by the way, here. I use it as a pill box. That's Sudafed. No, I am not starting a meth lab. It's, we have poor air quality around here, and every now and then, my sinuses will get all dicey on me. But, and the reason I put the Sudafed in the little tin is because when I get a sinus headache, popping those pills out of a little plastic container is usually more than I can manage. But I just thought that was so interesting to see something like this. But by the same token, it was a little unsettling because it does worry me that someone could actually buy this and think it was vintage, and it's kind of a problem. So anyway, let's take a quick look at one final little film clip, and then I will say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.
Well, it's adventure time. I want to take a look at those plates down there in the corner. And I have a feeling that I am going to be on my hands and knees in this none too clean booth. So, I will check back with you. And well, here are the plates. This is a dirty one, so let's take a look at a clean one. These are Mieto, and we've discussed the Mieto company. In fact, we discussed Mieto just recently when I said there were only 2 companies in Japan that you really wanted to pay attention to, and Mieto was one of them. However, $18 for 6 plates, not feeling real good about that. So, maybe some other time.